dog tags on in honor of the armed forces.
I was making weird noises.
And he plays guitar for the band REO Speedwagon. So,
Yes.
Dave, would you please tell us this beautiful setup that you have?
I use Marshall amplifiers, exclusively endorsement-wise. All those heads are 100-watt Marshalls with these like Jimi Hendrix type 60s cabinets. You know, they've all been redone to look like Hendrix stuff, and because I like to go vintage. I'm a vintage guy. This stuff is all like echoes and reverbs and all processing equipment, big rack of processors, and this is my spare rack in case that one goes down. You always have to have spares. I like a lot of spares.
Okay, spares are good.
Spares are good. And that's just a B rig, and that's my wireless, all the wireless equipment in there.
Okay.
And everything AC-wise plugs into that on the bottom, and it's like a conditioner, so it doesn't have any static. Although I heard static just a minute ago.
No, so did I. It wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me.
It was her. Every time she touches my stuff, it blows up. These two are the main two heads right here that power, like this top one powers this cabinet, and that one powers this cabinet over here. And the two on the bottom are just spares in case that, you know, I always have a spare rig.
So your guitar tech has a huge job.
Yeah, where is he? Yeah.
Where's Kevin?
Oh yeah, Kevin's around.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's hiding.
Now, this is not a guitar store. This is solely your guitars.
My wife calls it a guitar store, yeah.
Tell us what we have here.
Well, these are all reissue Les Paul historic collections from Gibson. they're like replicas of the real 50s guitars, and they just make them great now. And I do have 50s at home, the real ones at home, but they're just too expensive, or they might get stolen or something like that. So I don't want to take them out. So, but these are just awesome guitars, and Gibson's are making some really great stuff.
Now, what is the difference of the sound in them? Like, what makes you use one over the other?
I don't know. It's just like a car or something. You just got to get in, drive it. It's just a feel of it. They're all a little different. There's none that's alike. In some of the old REO songs, I have to match, from Gary, the old guitar player, and it's just I have certain songs I use this on because it matches it better, and then I use this, and this is a little fun toy, a little wang bar here, and just some stuff. It kind of makes the strings loosen, so it dips it.
Did you hear that? I heard that.
Yeah, it kind of dips it. Well, you can put the mic there. So.
Oh, that's cool. So what song do you use that on?
Well, that's kind of a play toy. I don't know. I just use that on the encore for fun. Give me the fun one.
Okay, very cool. So, now, were these made for you, or did you buy these?
Some were. This one was just picked out for me. No, I didn't really order these special, but some were picked out by the factory.
And now, what's over here?
These are Fender, and the same thing. It's kind of like copies of the old 50s ones, and what they do for me is, well, they do it for everybody too, but they kind of make me special. They beat them up so they look like old. So Neil Dowdy says, you pay more for these if you beat them up. He says, that doesn't make any sense. That one goes to 11, yes. That one's, you turn it and goes to 11. It's louder than the rest. Right.
Now, this has more strings on it.
Yeah, this is a double neck, so we do a song like...
oh, it's a double guitar. I didn't even see
like
that.
Building the
Hidden.
Bridge, one off our realm, so it's just double stringed. It just makes it a little bit, nicer. So, I use like half the song with the top, and then on the solo I need a 6-string, so I just click the switch down and I use it.
Now, was this made for you, or do they make these like
this? Was made for me, yes. This is a custom, they don't make them in black, but I ordered this in black. This was specially made.
This is Gibson.
Yes, this is Gibson again, yeah.
Okay. What guitar would you recommend for someone starting out playing?
Well, Fender's making some nice, reasonable stuff for kids now. I wish when I was a kid they made stuff like that too. And even Gibson makes like Epiphone, a little more inexpensive model, but you can get the same look and everything like that.
And what kind of amp would you recommend for them?
Oh, I like Marshalls myself.
What age did you start playing?
8. My cousin started guitar, but I guess he didn't like it or something like that, and so I borrowed it and I started playing, and ever since I've been playing.
Now, did you play by ear, or did you learn to play with?
I took lessons for the first 2 years, or 2 or 3 years. You have to practice. I mean, now looking back, I probably should even stuck with it even more. As you get older, you realize, but you just get impatient when you're young. I just want to start a band. I just want to play. You don't want to take lessons because you have to sit down and play all the time. But I think as you get older, you realize, well, maybe I should have probably stuck with it more. So I would say that the kids, even though it's a little boring, maybe boring, but you need it. It's good. I've actually gone back and taken some lessons since off and on, and vocal lessons. I know Kevin does too. Which really helps out a lot.
So, and you still do that till today?
Yes. Guitar lessons, not so much lately, but vocal lessons, yes. You know, sometimes you get into a little jam. Oh, what am I doing wrong? You know, so you go back to your teacher and take some lessons, and it's good. It's really good for you.
Does you ever get a block when you're playing guitar? Like you ever get like?
Oh yeah, sure. Sometimes you see if we learn, like today maybe, we're learning some new songs of all days to come.
No, this is perfect. They get to see how you react.
You know, we're working out some stuff, and yesterday you go, what was that change? Where we go from here?
Yeah, totally. That's great, Max.
So they're real people. You know, they have mistakes. They're not just perfect all the time.
Right.
Now these guitar picks are unusually thin.
Yes.
Can you tell me about these?
Those are Ernie balls. I just like them thin. I actually stole some from Eddie Van Halen one time, and I really liked. I put them on my mic stand one night, and I was using heavies, and I took these out and I put them on there, and I said, oh my God, these are awesome. So
What's the difference in the?
I just like them because they slap more. They sound a little bit thicker than the heavy ones are. Kind of like sharp or something. They're too like grating. So these give a little bit. So I like the way they feel better.
Okay.
And I turned Kevin onto them. Kevin plays the same ones too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And now I see you have the website. You guys have to check out Dave's website. You can see all of his guitars there. It's www.daveamato.com. And you can see all of his guitars, and you could see his rig setup, like, is mapped out for you on there, which I thought was the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's all the wiring and what goes where. And did you put a scratch on my guitar? By the way?
No, it wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me. Uh-oh, that was the one I touched.
Is that one it? No? See, I knew that.
Just give him a chance to go. Take it easy, take it slow.
All right, let's get this party going here. Bruce Hall right here is getting ready to sing this next song for you. He comes all the way from Champaign, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good buddy Bruce Hall. Come on.
This is Bruce Hall. He is the bass player for the band REO Speedwagon.
Correct.
And tell us about your stuff.
My stuff. Well, this is my speaker setup. As you can see, it's made by a company called Trace Elliott. I use two 410 cabinets, that's these, and two 15 cabinets. The 410s are a smaller speaker, and they produced a tighter sound, but they don't get as much low definition as a bigger speaker. This is kind of like what if you had a car stereo and you hear the woofer, like that comes out of big speakers like 15s, like that. I mean, you could produce it out of 10s, but it's not as efficient as the 15s. And also, I have a tweeter. There's like what they call a little tweeter horn, which is for the really supersonic highs, but usually don't need to turn that up much with bass guitar because not a lot of supersonic highs happening. This is our wireless units, what we use for, instead of cords in between our guitars and our amplifiers, is we use these. And these are little receiving antennas, selector switches for different guitars. Like I have like 4 different basses that I can choose from. And this buttons choose, depending which one I have on, you just push the button and the receiver, turn on the receiver and it picks it up. I could go down the block if I wanted to. This is my main amplifier. These are Trace Elliott GP12s. And I use this one most of the time. This is a backup. And then I have a backup to my backup.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, just in case, like on the road, if one of them breaks, then I have this one. I have another one to back up the one that's broken. And just in case I don't get this one back from repairs in time to get it back in, and something goes wrong with this one, then I got another one to back up the one that, so there's always 2.
Where are your bass? Where are they?
My bass?
Yeah. Let's go this way.
This is my main bass.
Okay.
This is my old bass that I grew up with, this bass.
Really?
Yeah, I played this bass before I was even in REO Speedwagon.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And she was retired for a while, and then I drug her out of the mothballs, and
Do you know how much Dave pays to get,
I know,
to get
he
his
does.
guitars to look this way?
I know. I took this down to the Fender shop where they customized this look. It's called Relic, but this isn't Relic. This is real.
It's real.
But
And this is a Fender?
it's a Fender jazz bass. I call it Butter. This is Butter. Butter bass. She's a beauty. I put on a new bridge and some active pickups, so active electronics, and that's about it. She's about the same as she was when she first came around.
And
Anyway,
that's your favorite one to play?
That's my favorite. This bass, my precision bass. Yeah, isn't that pretty? I use this in one song. And the reason I use this on one song is because it's tuned down a full step. It's tuned to the low string is a D.
And what song is that?
Time for Me to Fly.
So when you make the set list, are you conscious?
Oh, sure.
And you're like, oh no, I have to change back.
Well, Time for Me to Fly, and it's usually always in the set. So this bass always has to be around for that one song. Then I just give it back.
And then you give it back.
This is one of my favorites because it was like, it's from the Fender Custom Shop. It's got a little custom shop emblem up here. And it's a replica of a 1952 precision bass. It's a beauty. Blondie, that's Blondie.
He's named all his basses.
Yep. And last but not least, this is my 5-string. And this is kind of like my most recent one because it is, I only play this on one song too.
Oh, really?
On Building the Bridge, one song. And
what differentiates the sound?
it has a low B. This is like, on most basses, on the 4-string bass, the lowest string is an E. And I have the E here too.
Okay.
There's the E string. But then on a 5-string, you have a low B, and it just rumbles. In fact, if you look at it, you see look how. So it really puts out a really, really low tone. But it's a beauty too.
And how old were you when you first started to play?
I was 13,
13?
and I'm over 13 now. During the early days of like when we were growing up, it seems like everyone I know, Neil, Dave, Brian, Kevin, and a lot of other musicians, we all were just mesmerized by the Beatles and being on the Ed Sullivan Show, and we all got to see this when we were like very impressionable, about 10, 11, 12, something like that. So we all became big, huge Beatle fans, and everybody wanted to do exactly what they did. So that's kind of where it started.
Okay.
At first, to be a musician, especially a guitar player, there's pain involved in the beginning. There is. You have to get calluses on the end of your fingers, and the only way to get that is you have to practice a lot. And the first thing that happens is you get blisters, and then they have a tendency to like pop. It gets kind of messy. But you just keep working at them, and you just try to play through the pain, and eventually your fingers start learning how to do chords, and you start learning how to do scales and things like this. And you'd be surprised because if you're lucky enough, you'll find some other kids that are like the same age as yourself. Next thing you know, you got a band.
Back on the road again. Back on the road again. Back on the road again. I'm back on the road again. Woo! Back on the road again. Back on the road.
Why the bass?
Because Paul McCartney.
Really?
Paul McCartney,
Oh,
he was like
really?
my favorite
Oh,
at the
wow.
time. And also my first band needed a bass player because I
Cool.
learned how to play guitar first,
Uh-huh.
but we needed a bass player. So, I was kind of big with big hands, so I could do that.
Now, when you first started to play, did you read music at all, or you just by ear, were playing by ear?
Just by ear. But I have to say my mom is a really good singer, always singing. And when I was growing up, and my father was, he still plays a lot. He plays saxophone, clarinet. Both of them are very good too. So we always had music in the family. It was difficult at first, but now it's like such a dream fulfilled. We've been at this REO Speedwagon for over 30 years.
I know.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky.
And I remember all the ballad songs that came out, and they really touch you and put you in a place. And
I know, we're lucky enough that we hear about it all the time. Like they played our song at their wedding, or they've had it at their prom or something. So it's kind of like, that's really nice when people tell us that and fell in love to it.
Yeah.
It's like their song. It's great. It's awesome, really. It's actually very
Have you ever met Paul McCartney?
No.
No.
Darn it. Dave just met him, though, the other day.
Oh, did he really?
He got lucky enough to
you're
meet him. It
kidding.
was a fluke accident.
He didn't call you?
He called me after it was over.
Well, gee, thanks, Dave.
That's what I
We're
said.
gonna have to get him for that later. If you ever had the opportunity to play with him, would that intimidate you at all, you think?
Oh, yeah. I probably would forget how to play. Because he's like, in my book, he's like, the best there ever was. But
Yeah. Well, you're not so bad yourself.
well, thank you very much.
Makes you so angry, makes you so sore. When every word, but how can you wait anymore? You wonder what you waiting for. Nobody knows. But don't let it go. The Hitman, giant hit on the drums. Check it out, baby.
Ludwig built me a special kit just for flyouts.
Now
and
these
so-
are Ludwig.
Ludwig's,
Okay.
yeah, with Zildjian cymbals, and Zildjian also were kind enough to give me a whole new set of cymbals
Okay.
for that.
These
So,
are, like, really brand new.
yeah, they make a lot of noise. Well, yeah, and everything's specially mounted. They're all mounted on resonance isolation mounting systems, so they ring.
Oh yeah.
You know, and just little tricks, and they've all been worked on by one of the best craftsmen in the LA area, and all the edges have been redone, and I mean, and they're to exact specifications, and they.
Well,
they're
what
really- it's
what
really
specifications do you
Well,
require?
they just need to be extremely flat and smooth edges, and that way the heads seat real well on there. So that's basically it. Like I said, this is my B rig, and they're great, but it's not quite my A rig. On my A rig, my main snare drum, which is a Black Beauty also, is a 1970 model, and it's a very collectible drum.
So all of you
But I
like
don't take
vintage.
those on the
yeah,
road.
yeah, I would.
They're like $5,000 snare.
You'll kill somebody if they scratch them.
Right. And actually,
Poor Danny.
A funny story. When I first joined REO, I went to audition, and I played the audition with them. And I was foolish enough to bring one of my 1920s Ludwig. It was a stipple gold snare drum that I brought down for the audition, and I got the gig and everything. Everything was cool. So then we started rehearsals a couple of weeks later. I'm there playing on, this nice new Tama kit, which I was using then, and a nice new snare drum. And Kevin looked around. Wait a minute. No, we hired you and the snare drum. So it's like, okay. So you made me take my old snare drum on the road for the first couple of years and beat it up. But
Well, it makes it look better, it'll look all worn. I
well,
mean, you got Dave paying all kinds of
already
money for that.
it already did that. We got also trigger stuff too. So everything, there's a trigger in the bass drum, there's a trigger on the snare drum here, just to kind of beef up the sound, reinforce the natural sound of the drums. So I'm triggering a rack full of drum modules over there, which are basically just sample drum sounds in there and percussion sounds.
Okay.
So I can, I don't do anything real exotic with it. I just got a nice kick sample in there that triggers every time I hit the bass drum, along with the natural sound of the bass drum. Same with the snare drum. And I can change, if I'm playing cross stick on the snare like this, I can change that sound to a cross stick sound too. So I got the nice combination of both. And this, you can see that's a cross stick sound also. So sometimes if it's convenient, I'll play it over there. We also use a couple of different sounds triggered by this unit here, just to kind of enhance things. This pedal here is going to get lost after this. It's an electronic pedal too, and I used to use it because we all have in-ear monitors now, and so I'd use it for some count-offs so that we would all be in sync when we started together, but the audience wouldn't hear it. It was just going to our thing, so I could do, and I could make it a cowbell or whatever I wanted to for counts. So that's basically.
Did you ever mess with them and do something?
No,
Make a different sound?
No, it's not a good thing. Not a good thing to do in front of 15,000 people. We got this plexiglass, and it actually works. Kevin can actually sing on stage with us at rehearsal now. Before, see where that black couch is back there? That's where he used to stand with his mic at rehearsal because I would kill him.
And how old were you when you first started to play?
I think about 8 or 9. 9 years old. I banged
Can we
on
help you?
everything at home, pots and pans, and you know, that's what I wanted to do. My whole family was musical, and my mom wanted me to play trumpet, of course, and I said, Mom, it's either drums or nothing.
Did you try the trumpet?
No.
You're probably sick of the trumpet.
Hey, Dave. Come in. Come in, Dave.
Look at Brian's house over here.
He's got his own little.
Oh, this is a nice house.
It is.
Wow.
This is just the B house.
Oh,
You should
my
see the
God.
A house.
Oh, this is beautiful in here. I'm sorry, am I interrupting you again? I did it to everybody, huh? I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
come on.
bastard.
Look at that. This is fun.
This is cool. I told you. Did you demand a drum set as a kid? You're like, no, I'm
No,
just
I didn't actually get a drum set till I was probably 14 years old or so. You know, although I played in school band.
And what kept you? What kept you in? Oh, in Texas.
I liked it. I liked to play drums. We had a jazz band, and actually the little high school band I was in was made second in the entire state of Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that
We
you
worked
had?
our butts off.
Was it your teacher though?
Every day, yeah. It was definitely the band director.
So tell me a little bit about that. Because
Well, it was just a fun thing. I mean, it was either you played football or you played in the band. And actually, in our band, about half the band were football players too, all my buddies. So I was too small. I was a little shrimp back then. So, but we worked hard. You know, it was we had a really cool band director. This was like late '60s. I'm dating myself. And he was like a long-haired hippie guy in this little rural town in very conservative Texas. And he came out of nowhere, and he just turned our heads around, and it was just a great thing.
I mean, do you think that could have made the difference of you playing today?
I think so. Yeah, it kept me into drums. It kept me in school for one thing too. You know, without that, I probably who knows? I probably wouldn't have gone to school.
Now, before you joined REO, you played for Wang Chung, right?
That's right.
And also, what I found interesting was that you played on Solid Gold, and you did some movies and stuff. Like, how did you get into that?
Well, I was just scuffling around LA, doing a lot of sessions and recording with different people, and I guess I had cool hair or something back then, and so I got hired to do a lot of bandstands and Solid Golds and stuff like that with just artists, some artists that I'd never heard of, some I had. I did stuff with Graham Nash. That's actually how I got the gig with Wang Chung, is because I had a good look, and they just needed somebody to go do a video and some TV shows with. And then, you learn the part, because you got to, act like you're playing it, even though you're not.
Right.
And you're actually playing on real drums. In the first TV show we did, I remember we were playing the song, and then all the guys turned around and looked at me, because they didn't know. I mean, they knew I could maybe play a little bit or something, but then they like, wow, this cat's nailing the part, It's like, so then they hired me.
Do you feel you have more freedom with REO than you did playing for bands around town, like switching from band to band, or doing show to show?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Really?
This, this is a family now, and I'm the new guy, and I've been here for now going on 13 years. So, you build up a relationship, and so I can get away with a lot more. I mean, the guys trust me, and I trust them. They know that I'm not going to do something stupid, and it may not be the most appropriate thing every time, but we all have. We're grown up enough to be able to say, you know what, that part's not working. Maybe try something else, and it's a great situation to be in. We just did a 5-song medley of 70s tunes yesterday. A lot of the stuff I had never even heard before until 2 days ago, and we changed it up quite a bit because the 70s grooves, were a little boogaloo-ish, and that's just not how we play anymore. I took liberties, especially in the drum parts, and straightened out some of the grooves and stuff. That people will still recognize the songs, I think, but they're going to be quite a bit different than the original. Oh, most definitely. They got my print on them.
my main instrument has always been a Hammond B3 organ. I think I'm one of the few guys that still lugs one of these things around, but these are the classic rock and roll organ that's been around since blues, been around since like the 40s or the 50s or something. This is actually a Hammond XB3 because it's been completely digitalized. And they used to be a very complicated, bulky mechanism inside for making the sounds, and this has recreated it all. It's the classic organ sound that you hear, and I've been using it 30 years since the band started, and I refuse to give up on it.
How old were you when you first started to play?
Because now I'm only 35.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, I was like playing the trumpet from like 4th grade. As I started on violin, and after 2 days they said, "Why don't you try the trumpet?" So to this day, I'd love to be able to play the violin.
Are you scarred now that you won't try it anymore?
Yeah. Well, see, I got back at him because I can play violin sounds on a synth now. I was playing trumpet all through high school. I was in the marching band at the football games, and then probably halfway through high school, when the Beatles hit America, I just started working up Beatles songs by ear on the old beat-up piano in my parents' basement, and from that I kind of taught myself to play the piano. And then when I got away to college, I just happened to be assigned to the same dormitory as Alan Gratzer, our original drummer, and he was in a band and their keyboard player was leaving, and I said, well, I can kind of play the keyboards, and they just all left that group, and everybody in that old band he was with joined up with me, and that was the first REO Speedwagon.
Now, speaking of that, how did you come up with the name REO Speedwagon?
Well, I was in college at the time, ostensibly studying to be an electrical engineer, and we were in a history of transportation class, and the very day the band started looking for a name, I walked in there and REO Speedwagon was written across the whole front of the room, and he goes, this was an old truck that was a milestone in transportation because it was the first heavy-duty, high-speed vehicle. But before that, a truck could either be fast or it could carry something heavy. And like a fire engine, any truck sturdy enough to be a fire engine, by the time it got to the fire, it was too late. So the Speedwagon was outfitted as a fire truck some of the time for that reason. REO stands for Ransom Eli Olds, the man who later developed the Oldsmobile. And before he did that, he had the REO Motor Car Company, and the Speedwagon was his first major accomplishment. And you know, it was back in the 20s or something. And when I was in college, you know, which was this truck had been around for 50 years or something, and it was still being talked about. So we thought, high speed, heavy duty, you know, that's rock and roll. So everybody liked the name immediately. So it was destiny.
What gives your group longevity in this business?
Well, I think part of it is just the type of music that we first became popular with is just a type of music that doesn't really have a particular age group. It just appeals to everybody. It's like our brains are wired for certain things to sound pleasing, just the same way that classical music, you know, Beethoven and those guys who were the rock stars of their day, people still listen to that. And it's just, you know, we're all for music changing and for younger generations getting their own sound and trying anything as crazy as they want. But just this whole classic rock and power ballad thing, people just never got tired of it. And also, I mean, also we just refused to give up. You know, no matter what we were doing, you know, we'd still be wanting to go out there and do it because you don't ever get that out of your blood. Playing in front of a live audience is the biggest thrill on earth.
And you tour every year.
Oh yeah.
And they enjoy each other, and I think that's a lot of it too, is that you guys get along real well and you write together.
That's very important. One good thing is that back in 1981, when we had that huge record, High Infidelity, we'd already been together for 10 years. Because a really, really big hit can break up a band because all of a sudden, you know, the front men are getting more attention than the rest of the guys and ego things start happening. And sometimes a big hit can be the worst thing that happens to a band, because the little demons and jealousies and stuff can come out and destroy the whole thing. And fortunately, we'd been together 10 years when that happened, so we had developed a very solid friendship, and we'd gotten that stuff out of our heads about, well, we all want to be the most famous guy on stage, you know. And so I'm glad that it took us that long before something like that happened to us, because that's got a lot to do with why we're still around, because when the success hit, we were mature enough to handle it.
If you could change something in the schools, what would you change? What do you think would make the school more interesting?
Other than giving kids more of these kind of things to play around with, because these synthesizers can do anything, and I would imagine there's some kid out there that could make this do something I would never think of. But I think music, a formal training in music is important. I'm glad that I had my trumpet lessons. Gave me a basic understanding of music theory, and although I taught myself keyboard, if I had it to do over, I might take piano lessons and learn the classical stuff, because the best piano players like Elton John and Billy Joel, the best rock piano players, they have a classical background. You know, one interesting thing, this is a Leslie speaker. I don't know if you get back, take this up, you can see inside of it. And there's two speakers in there, an upper and a lower, and they're spinning in opposite directions and at different speeds. And that's that classic. A lot of the classic sound of an organ is because of the rotating speakers in those Leslie cabinets. And this is the synthesizer, of course. And like a lot of the newer synths today, basically just have audio samples stored inside of them. But this actually goes back to the way the original old analog synthesizers worked. It's actually a computer model of the old original analog. Most of the stuff we used synthesizer on was stuff we were doing back in the 70s, and this gets those classic 70s analog synthesizer sounds, so that's why I use that. One of the few synths today that has a nice knob and a slider and everything for every single function inside of it, so you can program it while you're playing it. You can change the sound in a lot of different subtle ways while you're actually during the performance. So that's why I like this one.
And what songs do you use this?
The little display right there says "Lightning" right now. That's a song we were working on yesterday, a song we haven't done in a long time.
For you guys.
That beautiful rotating speaker sound.
That's awesome.
And see, that's in there. Here's probably this is from Riding the Storm Out, that big thing at the. Probably heard that on classic rock radio.
Yeah.
That's why I'm using that.
Wow.
And you know what? This guy right here, before I met him, I actually owned a house. He makes me spend so much money on equipment that I had to sell my house. Dave talked me back into going all classic, the real thing type.
Well, what would you bring on stage if you weren't using what you used in the
Well,
recording studio?
for a while there in the 80s, I had a thing about this size was my only keyboard instrument on stage.
Really?
And through, you've probably heard of the MIDI interface, musical instrument digital interface. It's a way to play one synthesizer module from a remote keyboard. It's just sending out little computer commands so that I could be playing something here and it could actually be triggering sounds on racks full of equipment that are off stage. So some of our touring during the 80s, when we had a very kind of graphic looking set and a real clean look, I had a keyboard about this size, and underneath the stage was like the insides of a B-52 bomber full of racks and racks of equipment, and a guy down there making sure everything was working, but it was all being played from one small keyboard on stage.
Now, what did you guys do? You totally just like carved out the spaces for these?
Yeah. a lot of groups do this now, but we were doing it for a long time. We might have been one of the first. This is just actually the shell of a grand piano, and this is an electronic keyboard. We used to carry a real piano around, but it would have to be tuned for an hour or two every day, and it would still go out of tune during the show, and there's just a lot of trouble to carry around. So this keyboard is just an electronic keyboard, and it's playing this little rack of sound. I can bring the strings in and out with this little foot pedal down here. So.
I can't fight this feeling any longer, and yet I'm still afraid to let it flow. What started out as friendship has grown stronger. I only wish I had the strength to let it show. I tell myself that I can't hold out forever. I say there is no reason for my fear, 'cause I feel so secure when we're together. You give my life direction, you make everything so clear. And even as I wander, I'm keeping you in sight. You're a candle in the window on a cold, dark winter's night, and I'm getting closer than I ever thought I might. And I can't fight this feeling anymore.
that? I'm going to do that at the end of the song someday and see what Kevin does.
Don't let him go. Just give him a chance to grow. Take it easy, take it slow. And don't let him go. Don't let him go.
We're here with Kevin Cronin, the lead singer and rhythm guitar player for REO Speedwagon. And tell me how you got started with this whole music thing.
Well, my earliest memory of life on this planet was sitting, my folks would prop me up at a little baby grand that my grandmother used to have, and I would just kind of bang at it along with records. My dad used to play Harry Belafonte records, and I would just kind of bang along in rhythm on the piano, and that was my trick. You set your kids up to do it. So that was my thing. I banged along the piano, and I guess I kind of banged along relatively in time. And so that was like, my parents would bring their friends over and a lot of people actually thought that I was playing at that point. Of course I wasn't. But so it's been, it goes back as far as I can remember. I've never really done anything else. I don't know how to do anything else. It's a good thing this thing worked out for me.
Did you take lessons when you were younger in school or private lessons?
Yeah, I took private guitar lessons. I think I started when I was about 10, and I took lessons for a good 4 or 5 years.
What is your favorite thing to play? And when you write, I mean, you write for the band, and I know you all collaborate, but when you write, what is the instrument that inspires you the most?
Well, usually I write with an acoustic guitar.
Tell me what you think I'm feeling. You know why I do what I do. Why should you listen to a word I'm saying when it's already so clear to you? You tell me about my bad intentions. You doubt the very things I hold true. I can no longer live with your misconceptions. Baby, all I can say to you is that ain't love. I believe you got the wrong emotion. But that ain't love. At least it doesn't feel like love to me. As long as I say what you want to hear, do what you want to do, be who you want me to be. You think that's love? Baby, that ain't love to me. Oh, no.
Sometimes I write on the piano. I kind of taught myself the little I know on the piano, but in our concert, I actually do play piano on a few songs mainly because the parts that I write on piano are impossible for real piano players to play because I play piano like a guitar player. So.
You should have seen by the look in my eyes, baby. There was something missing.
So I play a couple of songs on piano, but in general, it's a nice old acoustic guitar. It just feels like home to me.
Now, do you have the same baby grand that you first started playing on?
No, that would be cool. No. I do have my first electric guitar though.
Do you have it here?
Not here. I've got it back at the studio at home. I wish you could see that.
How's this for movie magic?
Wow.
How was that?
Oh. Be careful what you wish for. Here we are. My first guitar. I keep it out here as a reminder of, where I could be. But this is it, the Harmony Rocket, baby.
Oh, look at
the knobs on that thing.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I originally fell in love with it. I mean, it's in pretty darn good shape, all things considered.
Oh yeah, no, it's beautiful. Where did you buy it? Can you remember when?
I didn't buy it. What happened was I actually was playing in a band with a bunch of kids that were older than me, and my parents weren't really fond of it because they were in high school and I was still in like 6th or 7th grade. And one of the main reasons that I liked to play with these guys is that they had this guitar. It was one of their extras. And I used to go to rehearsals and play this guitar, and I loved this guitar. So my parents were willing to do anything to get me out of this band. So they bought the guitar, and I think I was probably like in 7th grade, and they gave it to me for Christmas, and it was a very, very exciting moment. All right, so we're going back to rehearsal, magically transported back to rehearsal by your magic powers, Alex?
Yes.
All right, baby, let's go. Ready?
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
And it was a great little story because I sold it when I was in high school to buy another guitar, and never really thought about it again. And then years later, like in the early 80s, someone contacted my folks and said that they thought they had my first electric guitar and would I like to buy it back. And of course, I'm thinking they're going to charge $10,000, which, and at the time I probably would have paid that. But he charged me like $300 or $400, and so I've got the first electric guitar I ever owned. So yeah.
Awesome. Do you use it during your concerts?
No, it's sitting up in my studio just kind of as a little vibe thing.
Yeah, it's just for your personal.
Yeah, just as a soul warmer,
Do you think that the music programs in the schools today are keeping the kids interested, or do you think that there's something they could do to change it?
My oldest son, Paris, is a great musician. He's obviously been around music his whole life, and he's a great drummer to this day. As a matter of fact, we often play music together, and it's a great bond that we have between a father and son. Little Holly is still in preschool.
Really cute, by the way.
She's a sweetheart. Music is a big part of her life at school. As a matter of fact, they bring me down there to entertain the kids, and and it's a gas.
You just go.
Oh, it's the best, and you see that children at that age, you would think that 4-year-old kids, like they don't know who anybody is, they're not impressed by anything. They just react to music just for the real basic human enjoyment of it. And the first time I did it in Holly's class, I didn't know, what their attention span would be or what would happen. And they were right there with it. I mean, everything they all came up and wanted to strum my guitar just to see how it felt. And I gave them each a turn, and they just were spellbound by the instrument and just I just sang little songs, coming around the mountain, that kind of stuff. And so I see it in my babies. As you know, I have twin baby boys, and they already sing the melody for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in their cribs in the morning. So music is just, if a young person is exposed to it, they soak it up, and it's so good for them. And I'm sure the studies where they say that if you expose kids to music, it actually helps their math scores. It always seems like as soon as there's a budget problem in the school system, what's the first thing to get cut? It's it's the music, and it's the theater programs and things that are so important to kids, and to ignore that and to think that kids need reading and writing and arithmetic. Well, of course they do, but they need music and they need theater. They need that way to express their emotions so that they feel good. Because when they feel good, they're gonna like school more, and they're going to enjoy the experience.
And it'll give them the confidence to do maybe what you had the confidence to do. We were talking earlier about how your lyrics, they touched me. I know that, in the ballads especially.
Okay. Slap me again.
Certain situations or how you feel about another person. You really touched on the words are just so exact and precise to what I was feeling. Is that what inspired you to write them? Is that where it's coming from, your personal life experience?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The best songs I write are the ones that where the music and the lyric all kind of comes at the same time, and the good thing about that is that's when I know that there's something special about it. It's not like there's something to be said for writing the music and then writing, having a lyricist come in and do the lyrics, or that collaborative art. That's a whole other thing. But I find that when it all kind of happens from the same burst of energy, then there's a connection between the lyrics and the music that is undeniable, because they both came from the same feeling. And that I just write about what's happening to me, about writing for a long time for me was a way to express my anger and my confusion about things, to kind of ask the questions of myself that I needed answers for. And some of our biggest songs are songs where I wrote the verses and then struggled with the chorus for years because I hadn't lived it yet. Can't Fight This Feeling, which is probably our most popular song, I wrote the verses and wrote the chorus literally 10 years later.
Really?
Yeah, because I just hadn't, the verses asked the questions and the chorus kind of gave the answers. And, so for me, I wrote a number of different choruses for that song, and I just knew that it didn't feel right. It just wasn't, but I knew that the verses had something really, from the moment I wrote those verses, I just had a feeling that was, it sounds weird to say, but I had a feeling that if I could finish that song, it would be a #1 record. And I was just a kid when I wrote those things. I had no idea what a #1 record even meant, but I had that feeling, and it did come true. So.
Look at that. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think gives your group longevity in this business, or any group for that matter, longevity in the music industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think, people have to react to the songs, obviously, and there's a lot of luck involved, a lot of just timing, and I think if the music strikes a chord with people, you said that our song struck a chord with you, and I think obviously the music struck a chord with a lot of people who still come to see us play and support us, and here we are 30 years later, still drawing huge crowds in concert and having a great time.
Are you feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good? Feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. Feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. Good, 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 good. Tell me one more time. Are y'all feeling good?
Our business, the business end of our thing has always been family. And we've never signed a management contract with our manager. He's been with us since the beginning. The guys in the band, we get along. And when we play in concert, if you come and see us, you'll see that the fun that you see us having when we're playing the music, it's not like we all show up on different buses. We're all, we all get along. We'll go out and play golf on the days off. And so we keep a good sense of humor about ourselves, take our music seriously, but don't take ourselves seriously.
Do you feel you use your voice as an instrument?
Up until about 1985, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never taken a singing lesson, and I don't really have a natural singing voice, and I was a singer. I mean, obviously, I sang on a lot of hit records, but it was every night on tour, it was just kind of cross your fingers and hope it was going to happen, and it was so very stressful. And finally, I think it was about 1985, I just realized that, because I tried taking singing lessons when I was younger, and it didn't really make sense to me. But I thought, I'm going to really give this a try, and I worked with a vocal coach for a good year and a half. He showed me a series of vocal exercises and warm-up exercises that I do religiously. I mean, on the way driving down here today, if someone was sitting next to me on the freeway, they'd see me, and I sometimes wonder what people next to me that stoplight think I'm doing over there. But
There's another loon on the freeway.
Exactly. And they'd be right. A lot of it is emotion, and I used to just rely strictly on emotion, but now I have a little bit more control over it, and normally I don't get hoarse, although at rehearsals sometimes I do. There are ways to sing that some people, my friend Richard Marks, just could sing the phone book and slays you. In fact, I listened to a CD yesterday that we did together. It was, check this out. It was Richard, Bill Champlin, who you know, David Crosby, and myself. And I listened to this record yesterday that we made together, and each guy took some solo lines, and there's some scary singing going on with these guys. But I've worked on it, and I think that one of the things that keeps me excited about touring and about recording is that I feel like I'm singing my best now, and that's fun. I can squeeze a little more out of the tunes, and I'm having a lot more fun singing than I ever have because I don't have the fear of losing my voice on tour. And I do my vocal exercises fairly religiously. The last week I kind of slacked off, and this is the result. So
See, you gotta practice.
yeah, you do. You really do.
Okay.
I mean,
can you show us your guitar collection?
yes, I believe it's right over there. Shall we
Let's go.
stroll over? This is actually my touring guitars.
Okay.
My real guitar collection is in my studio at home because there's some, rare old Martin acoustics that I've collected over the years. I've had a relationship with Ovation, with actually Command Music for over 20 years. They've treated me really great, and they make my guitars custom. I'm trying to think of when the first Vipers came out, but these Viper guitars are so great because they're acoustics, and from the front, you see them, and it just looks exactly like an acoustic guitar, the wood grain and everything. When you turn it sideways, it's extremely thin. So for me, being kind of a rock and roll acoustic player, it doesn't, it gives me a chance to feel like I'm playing an electric guitar. The guitar isn't sticking out to here, and it just it lends itself to rocking a little bit with the acoustic guitar. And that's been part of REO Speedwagon's sound ever since I joined the band, was the combination of the huge stack of Marshalls, which I'm sure Dave showed you earlier, and the nice acoustic guitar. And I like the sound of an electric guitar and acoustic guitar together. I think it gives a nice broad, a bigger sound than either instrument can provide by itself.
Are these leaves on here, or what?
Yeah, I guess those are leaves, and got some leaves there. These are all leaves, yes.
Are they, now, do they make these for you with that on it?
Well, these are the collector series. In 1985, they made 1985 or something like that. This purple one was custom made for me, and this red sunburst was made especially for me. There's a 12-string back here. That's kind of cool.
Now, what do you use the 12-string for?
That's for Time for Me to Fly. That's in an open D tuning for Time for Me to Fly.
It's time for me to fly. Oh, I got to set myself free. Time for me to fly. Baby, that's just how it's got to be. I know it hurts to say goodbye, but it's time for me to fly. Time for me to fly. Time for me to fly. It's 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 time for me to fly.
And some of these guitars are in alternate tunings as well. So for different songs, I have different tunings. So you see the roadies running out on the stage frantically switching guitars. That's what that's about. And the electric guitars here are my favorite old Fender Telecasters.
Now, are these real vintage, or did you buy them like?
This one's actually the real thing. This is the one I play the most. That's a 52, and a nice Telecaster. And I got a little collection of these at home as well. And these ones are the ones that they try to make look like the old ones. This is the real thing. And this guitar just feels like home to me. It's just everyone tells me I'm crazy to bring it on tour because it's such a valuable instrument. But it's like, what's the sense of having a valuable instrument and then keep it in a safe all the time? And when my guitars at home, as valuable as they are, they're out, and I play it. If you feel these necks, for me, I feel this, and it's like, oh yeah, that feels like home. These ones, they feel pretty good, but this has just got a warmth. Like, as I said, this guitar has been played for 50 years.
Is there someone that you haven't played with that you would love to play with?
Wow. I've been pretty lucky. My heroes when I was a kid were Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. They were just, when I heard that first Crosby, Stills & Nash record, that was like, I loved the Beatles, I loved all the Who and the Kinks, all the English bands that came in when I was a kid, but Crosby, Stills & Nash just had that acoustic guitar, electric guitar, the harmonies, great songwriting. Writing a song with Stephen Stills was probably about as good as it gets for me. Should we try the medley and just kind of blast through that?
Let's see what happens.
Get our memory banks.
Oh yeah,
That thing.
can we play something we know first?
No. This is rehearsal, man.
What's the very first song again?
It's a medley then, isn't it? We'll find a way to feel like sun.
time we've ever done a melody, isn't it?
Could be the last.
Look, please, no one feed him.
Yeah, you should put a doorbell in that thing. A knocker.
Okay, let's keep it
Now
clear.
you're talking.
Hey, get Brian, come out. I think we should fill it up with water.
Put some fish in there. Hey, that would be beautiful.
Let's just try.
I'm not worried about the end.
Okay. We'll never get there anyway.
Yeah, don't worry about that part. We'll never make it there.
By the way, how am I going to introduce this? How do you introduce 5 songs with one?
Here's 5 songs that need no introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paul Schaefer REO Speedwagon. Let's hear it.
Stop living your own trail again.
It didn't feel, it felt a little weird to me, but maybe if we did it right, it would sound better. You guys might want to save a little videotape.
Yeah. We swear we're professionals. This really is the guys in REO.
I want to let us do one take for a second.
That's what they call it rehearsal.
What I call working it out.
I left so much behind to find the dream that I was chasing. And now I have the need to take a look at what is real. I need to live and live and love and breathe and touch and feel. All I really know is what I see. Everybody seems to get paid. I was so lucky to open up my heart and look inside me. I've been here too long now. I've got to go outside. People gotta let me ride.
We should just go, just to keep it less wordy, just let me ride, ride, ride. Got to, instead of I got you, just boom. Got to feel free inside.
Let me ride, ride, ride. Got to feel free inside. Let me ride, ride, ride. Got to feel free inside. Let me ride, ride, ride. I got to feel free inside.
I have a little more of Bruce's vocal in my
Let me ride, ride, ride. Got to feel free inside. Let me ride, ride, ride. Got to feel free inside.
Does this kind of remind you of the scene in Spinal Tap where they're at Elvis's grave? Trying to work out a harmony.
Slowly.
Don't tell him I said that. They'll be flawless.
Feel free inside. Let me ride, ride, ride. I got to feel free inside. Here I go again. I don't really care to turn back. I even follow your directions, but I seem to be losing track. And I believe I'll make a run for you, just to see how far we can go. I ain't just along for the fun of it, but until you try it, better you never know. So Say goodnight. Say goodnight. Say goodnight. Heard it from a friend who heard it from another. You've been messing around here. Say you got a boyfriend. You're like it every weekend. They're talking about you and it's bringing me down. But I know the neighborhood. And talk is cheap when the story is good. The tales go totter on down the line. But I'm telling you, babe, that I don't think it's true, babe. And even if it is, keep this in mind. Everybody, come on! You're taking on the run, baby. If that's the way you want it, baby, then I don't wanna leave you around. I don't believe it, not for a minute. You run with the gun, you're taking on the run. Thinking of your white lies, you're putting on your bedroom eyes. You say you're coming home, but you won't say when. Oh no, baby, but I can feel it coming. If you reach it, now just keep on running. You need me to look back again. Run. You're taking on the run, baby. If that's the way you want it, baby, then I don't wanna leave you around. I don't believe it, not for a minute. You run with the gun, you're taking on the run. Taking on the run, baby. If that's the way you want it, baby, then I don't wanna leave you around. I don't believe it, not for a minute. You run with the gun, taking on the run. Taking on the run, baby. If that's the way you want it, baby, then I don't wanna give you around. Oh no, I don't believe it, not for a minute. You run with the gun, you're taking on the run. Everybody, come on. Heard it from a friend who, come on.
My high school band director, Leroy Kirsch, taught me the most important thing of all. If you're in front of an audience and you make a mistake, don't let it show on your face. Just pretend like you meant to do that.
Well, there's a couple things we do to warm up, because we have to warm up our fingers and we have to warm up our voices. So we do some.
In our little bodies.
We make noises like just little warm-up things for your voice.
The in-ear monitors that I use shut off about 25 to 30 dB of sound. So they cut out pretty much all the ambient sound. So I can't really hear the drums and cymbals well. So I have them pumped back in at a lower volume through the monitors.
One-off is like just if we have a gig on like a weekend somewhere, we fly to the show and have maybe different gear or some rental gear, you know, something like that. That's what we call those one-offs.
I think if a kid has any interest at all in music, and give him a couple of instruments and see which one he likes, and if he wants to take some lessons, encourage that, and don't force anything on them, and just let their own creativity take over. And the next thing you know, they'll be in a rock and roll band.
For me, arts education was more than important. It actually saved my life, because when I grew up, the vibe in my neighborhood was not very conducive to being an artist or a musician or anything like that. And for me, it was a huge emotional release, and it was where I found my identity.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm with REO Speedwagon, and you're watching Hollywood Music Store. Woo!